Yeah, recording.
Okay, today we are interviewing Francine Marie Farmer. She was born on December the 8th, 1964. She served in Operation Iraqi Freedom in the Army. She ended her military career as a sergeant promotable. This interview is taking place on December 18th, 2012 at the Joliet Public Library in Illinois. My name is Jack Teagle. I am being assisted by Benjamin Klon, and we are co-workers with Francine at the Joliet Public Library. This interview is being conducted for the Veterans History Project and the American Folklife Center at the Library of Congress. Francine, I would like to start by asking, where were you born?
Joliet, Illinois, at Philip Murray Housing Projects.
Okay, so you were not born in a hospital in Joliet.
No, I got there after the fact.
Okay, do you want to explain how?
When my mother came to be delivered, we were waiting for the ambulance. Didn't come in time enough. My sister, Denise Farmer Winfrey, ended up just assuming the duty of midwife.
Okay. What did your parents do for a living?
My mom, she worked a couple of places, to include the Joliet, I want to say the Army Depot or Arsenal at one time.
Okay.
My father, Joe Farmer Sr., he worked for the employment office when it was still on Scott Street, and then it moved to the west side of town. The final place that it was at currently is here on Chicago Street.
Okay. Do you have any brothers or sisters?
Yes, I have a total of 15, counting my stepbrothers and stepsisters.
Okay. Okay, what did you do before entering the military?
I worked at Burger King when I lost my job there. I moved to Fort Riley, Kansas, where my sister Phyllis Farmer was stationed. And when I couldn't find work in Junction City, which was the town outside of Fort Riley, I joined the military.
Okay. And why did you choose the Army?
For one, you could train to work. Plus, it was land-based.
Okay. How many other family members have served or are currently serving in the Army?
My sister Phyllis, she was in the military. She got out just as I was coming in.
Okay.
Her son, my nephew Christopher Paul Farmer, is currently stationed at Fort Bliss, Texas. I also have a niece, Evelyn Farmer, who is in the Air Force, and she, I think, is in Germany.
Okay. Did your dad serve in the military?
Yes, my father was in World War II.
Okay. When did you leave for boot camp?
I went to boot camp November 4th of 1987.
Okay. And what was basic training like?
Getting dropped a lot. You learn to train on the M16. You learn basic combat skills.
Okay.
Low crawling, high crawling, how to perform first aid on your on yourself or your friend, how to such as applying atropine injectors if you get hit with nerve agents.
Okay.
How to use a gas mask. How to determine what kinds of chemicals, NBC chemicals, should unfortunately that happen. How to shoot an M16, regardless of whether you're combat MOS, military occupation service, or non-combat military occupation service, you still have to learn how to shoot to defend yourself.
Did you learn how to shoot sidearms as well?
Yes, you had to. Besides the M16, I had for my tour in Haiti, for the 3-month tour that I was in Haiti, I did have to learn how to shoot a 9mm. Okay.
So, did you receive any specialized training after you left basic training?
Yes. My advanced individual training, or AIT as the Army calls it, was at Fort Sam Houston, where I trained to be a veterinary food inspector.
Okay. So, okay, where did you serve while you were in the military? And if you could, it'd be helpful if you can go in kind of chronological order.
Chronological order: we first duty station, Fort Jackson, South Carolina, for basic training. Okay. Fort Sam Houston, Texas, for advanced individual training. Fort Ritchie, Maryland, my first permanent duty station for 1 year. Yokosuka Naval Base, Japan. Fort Sam Houston, Texas, Fort Lewis, Washington for 2 years,
Okay.
Fort Greeley, Alaska for 1, Fort Sam Houston, Texas for 3,
Okay.
and Hohenfels Combat Maneuver Training Center, Germany for 3,
Okay.
Fallon Naval Air Station for my final 2.
Okay. Now you mentioned you served in Haiti.
Yes, I was. But at my second tour in Fort Sam Houston, Texas, they were looking for volunteers for Operation Enduring Freedom, which went where I was. I was on the final end of it from September of '99 to
Okay.
December of '99.
Okay. Did you also serve in Iraq?
Yes, I was there from September 03 to the 1st of March of 2004.
Okay. How did you travel to Iraq?
Plane. First, we convoyed up from. I rode up from Hohenfels to.
Okay. Now Hohenfels was in. Where was that located?
My Hohenfels was Germany.
Okay. So you flew from Hohenfels.
No, I took the bus up from Hohenfels
Okay.
to Giebelstadt,
Okay.
which was the headquarters for our unit, which
Okay.
was 72nd Medical Detachment.
Okay.
Then
Okay. Go ahead.
from Giebelstadt, another bus up to Ramstein.
Okay.
And then from out of Ramstein Air Force Base, we flew to Kuwait.
Okay.
Spent a night in Kuwait, then flew from Kuwait to Balad, Iraq.
Okay.
Then convoyed from Balad, Iraq to Joliet Air Force Base in Iraq.
Okay. So what were your duties in Iraq?
Same job, but food inspection. Those were my main jobs, was food inspection.
Okay. So what were living conditions like in Iraq?
For us, it was okay, considering the fact it was combat situation. They built up an area, base camp in Iraq. It got itself the nice little nickname, the Vatican, because the funny thing about it, our allies could come in to the air camp,
Okay.
but fellow army personnel in other camps surrounding the Joliet Air Base were not as welcome. But we had a lot of different allies. We had Italians, we had Dutch, and I think we had some Croatian and Korean as well, and some Fijians.
Okay. So what did you do in your off time while you were in Iraq?
Well, since we really it was inadvisable to go off base for non-duty related stuff in Iraq. They had morale tents where you could watch videos or play board games or stuff like that. They had a little mini PX post exchange for each base camp that you're at.
Okay.
And we had one USO tour that came in, where it was various people, Army and Air Force, that come in and performed the USO tour for us,
Okay.
for morale reasons.
Okay. Did you ever come under enemy fire, or were you ever exposed to improvised explosive devices while you were in Iraq?
Thankfully, no. Instead, our Italian allies, unfortunately, were exposed to that. The Sheikh of Iraq got mad with our Italian allies, complained that they didn't do anything but keep up noise and party. And so he stirred up the residents of Al Nasiriyah and bombed the Italian allies' camp Whitehorse. All this took place during Ramadan season, so that particular day we were going out to do food inspections at Camp Cedar, which was just a little bit up north of Toledo. came back, there was you could see the tension. Kids were throwing rocks at our Humvee. There was an adult man that he was right in the line of the dust that was coming off our wheels because it was dusty. It was sandstorm season too. Jacket over his head and giving us the finger. It was like, and then when we got back to Leo, the guards were doing checks of our vehicles. Then we find out later there was that the Iraqis had gotten mad with our Italian allies and bombed Camp Whitehorse. So we had to do a mass cal for our Italian allies.
Okay, what's a mass cal?
Mass casualty.
Okay.
Let's see, what's the word I want to use? I and a couple of other personnel, three other personnel, were helping carry in one of our casualties into the hospital tents. We were going through the part that was a dental tent, and we seen all these doctors working on this looked like a little hairy mass. And then when I got closer, I realized it was a baby.
Okay.
But later on, that baby died.
Okay. Okay. So, what was your least favorite posting stateside?
Fort Ritchie, Maryland.
Okay. Why was that?
You were up in the boonies away from everything else, and at the time I still hadn't got my driver's license, and there was no public transportation.
Okay.
So you couldn't get to any place else like you would have liked to.
Okay. What was your favorite posting stateside?
San Antonio at Fort Sam. You could go some of any place. Then when I got tired of seeing San Antonio, I could drive someplace else.
Okay. How did you find Haiti? What was your reaction to Haiti?
The truth was, it was in pretty bad shape. It was, in light of the fact that the earthquake even took out the governor of presidential palace. The town was in kind of bad shape from what I seen.
Okay. Well, actually, where did you serve in Haiti? What location?
We were in a light industrial complex just outside of Port-au-Prince.
Okay, and what was the purpose of the mission to Haiti?
We were a humanitarian mission. We were to help the people as best we could.
Okay. You mentioned you also served in Japan. You see, where did you serve in Japan?
Yokosuka Naval Base.
Okay.
Navy personnel and Marines don't have food inspectors or animal technicians, so they contract Army personnel out.
Okay. And did you have much contact with the Japanese people on the base? When you were
Yes, there was quite a few Japanese nationals that worked on base, and go out on the economy and see quite a bit of stuff.
Okay. How did you find that the Japanese people treated you?
They're very polite. They don't like rudeness, and they keep a pretty clean country.
Okay. And you also mentioned you served in Germany. Where in Germany did you serve?
Hornville's Combat Maneuver Training Center.
Okay. And how did you did you get to see much of Germany while you were there?
Yes. I went to Nuremberg quite a bit and Regensburg quite a bit. And then Giebelstadt was just a few miles away from Würzburg. So I went there quite a bit, but mostly I went to Regensburg and Nuremberg.
Okay.
And Neumarkt.
And so what did you do in your off hours when you were in Germany?
A lot of window shopping, and it took a lot of pictures of things that, some historic things, but that was mainly it.
Okay. How did you find the German people treated the military? How did you find they treated you?
They treated me all right.
Okay. So what was your favorite posting outside the U.S.?
I think I like Japan the best.
Okay. And why is that?
It was very clean. Of course, both Germany and Japan were very clean.
Okay.
It's like both of them were very scenic, but truth is, about neck and neck because both of them were very nice, clean countries.
Okay. What was your least favorite posting outside the U.S.?
Alaska, well, I was kind of, you were kind of in the boonies, even though I did have a car.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Well, even though Iraq, I wasn't too fond of that. I was not at all sad about coming back to Germany to get away from Iraq, because I was only going there because I was sent.
Okay. Did you make any friends while you were in the service?
Yes, quite a few. Some I kept in contact with quite a bit. When the president first got elected, I called one of my former supervisors to celebrate with him.
President Obama?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, are you still in contact with any of the people you served with?
I haven't talked to many people lately, but I guess I should talk more, communicate more, but I haven't communicated much lately.
Okay. Did you feel a sense of camaraderie while you were in the service?
Yes, especially my last unit before I left Germany, which was 21st Medical Detachment, which was a small squad-sized element of 72nd Medical Detachment.
Okay, what do you mean by squad size? How many people?
8 to 10.
Oh, okay. And did you ever feel a sense of racial discrimination while you were in the military?
To some degree in my first tour at Fort Sam, but it was more subtle. You couldn't tell it as quite as much. Some personnel you felt like got more advantages to advance themselves than others. But more so anything, there was always the problem with the change with the promotion point system. They kept changing. It seemed like just as soon as you overcome one hurdle, they throw there or achieve some points in one area, they take those points away and throw up another hurdle.
Okay.
And that was Army-wide. That wasn't just for one particular place.
Okay. So how did you keep in touch with family and friends while you were in the military?
Before I went over to Iraq, I mostly called and wrote. When I went to Iraq, I did a lot of emailing. That's how everybody had, because by that time, everybody had an Army Knowledge Online email account. And that's mostly how I contact with folks then, was email.
Okay, so everybody in the military had an email account?
Yes. Army Knowledge Online was the main military account by that time.
So, okay.
Matter of fact, I still use that, keep that account.
Okay. Now, when and how did you return home?
I returned home, drove home from Fallon and Las Vegas, November 1st of 2007. I drove down from Fallon to Vegas to look around a little bit, spent a night in Vegas, and then I drove up from Vegas through Utah and Colorado and what's the other place? Not Kansas. Well, yes, Kansas too. Or was it Nebraska? That's the other state, Nebraska. And that's about 2 or 3 days drive.
Okay, so you basically came home up and then went up on I-80 and coming home through I-80?
Actually, I took 15 up to 70 going through Colorado, and then later on when I got outside of Colorado, then I connected on to 80.
Okay. How was your reception when you got home by your family and friends?
Normal.
Okay.
Normal.
And how did you find the transition back to civilian life?
It was a little bit somewhat hard as far as looking for work, because you're used to having to be up and having to be to work at least 8 hours.
Okay. Okay. Do you belong to any veterans organizations?
No, currently I'm not involved in any veterans organizations, but a club I am involved in is National Hookup of Black Women. We support arts, health, and standing up against domestic violence and literacy.
Okay, is that a local chapter in Joliet?
Yes, Joliet chapter is the largest chapter.
And how many women are in the chapter?
Currently, we have over 130 personnel.
Okay. Now, how have your experiences in the military affected your life?
My experiences affected me as far as accountability. Be where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be there, and do what you're supposed to do. Your work ethic. The biggest thing is the work ethic.
Okay. And what have you done? What have you done for a living since you've left the military?
Well, first I started full time in a warehouse with the temp agency, and then when that temporary job played out, I started subbing at the cafeteria at Joliet Central. Since then, got hired on permanent part-time there, and I've been there 4 years. Currently, I've been here at the library a little over a year.
Okay. Well, Francine, I thank you for taking the time to talk with us today.
You're welcome.